Is prison tougher for women? Are women more likely to get in trouble while locked up than men? What exactly is prison like for women? All of these questions that I pose to you guys, I honestly can't answer these. I'm not a woman. I've never been locked up inside of a women's prison. Though, when you're serving time, and trust and believe me when I tell you this, that is sort of like a little fantasy that every guy is guaranteed to have. What if, just hear me out, they accidentally locked me up inside of a women's penitentiary? I can imagine my time would be pretty alright. But the reason I pose those questions to you is because just recently there was a prison news story that came out reporting that in prison, women are a lot more likely to get in trouble than men, or they're a lot more likely to be disciplined versus men. In fact, the title of this prison news story is "In Prison, Discipline Comes Down Hardest on Women." Now, before I go any further with this, I just want to take this headline and try to dissect this a little bit. And when I read this, the first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, well, if this is true, I can imagine that there's all sorts of things that are taking place inside of female penitentiaries and jails that they're just not right. And maybe those things come in the form of like male correctional officers treating women badly. I can definitely see how that could be a thing, and I'm quite sure that definitely happens. But it was while learning more about not only this news story, but this was actually a study and a report that was like issued by some major college and some other organizations as well. That I myself as a man, and again having no idea what it's like for a woman to serve time, I myself was really having a hard time buying into exactly what they were so-called reporting with this prison news story and also this information that they've supposedly discovered. And now, before you go painting me as any type of a male chauvinist pig, that's not what I'm intending to do with this. However, I do want to give you guys my opinion on this and why this really doesn't make any sense to me. Again, had they reported on, male correctional officers really doing crazy things, yes, I can totally get behind that. However, that's not what they're reporting. This article would start out talking about 3 former female prisoners. Wow, that was almost a tongue twister right there. 3 former female, Monica Cosby, no relation to Bill, Tatiana Williams, and another woman by the name of Celia Collin, who start out talking about some of the experiences that they experienced while they were serving time. Their stories often turn to the times they would be disciplined for what seemed like small, even absurd things. Newsflash to anybody. Whether you're a man, woman, or anything else, if you're serving time, guess what? You are most certainly going to have to deal with times when you're going to be disciplined for like the littlest, stupidest thing. And the examples that they share in this article are perfect examples of that. Cosby was playing Scrabble in her cell once. When a guard asked what she was doing, she responded sarcastically saying, "What does it look like I'm doing?" Okay, first mistake. It's not really a good idea to be responding or answering a guard's question in a sarcastic manner. What does it look like I'm doing? And who's to say what type of a guard this was? Obviously, it was a guard who wasn't that cool. This wasn't one of the cooler guards that these ladies had to deal with. And with that probably being the case, because you would definitely end up catching not 1, but also 2 write-ups and charges, you should definitely know right from Jump Street that you shouldn't be what we like to refer to as feeding in to the situation. Don't you go feeding into it. Don't you go feeding the fire. What does it look like? Answering or responding to this guard in a negative way, you're automatically making yourself a target. And if they can, believe when I tell you they will, they gonna write you up. They definitely gonna, "Hey, what did you just say to me?" The guard wrote her up for contraband, the Scrabble set, and also for insolence. Insolence, I'm guessing that's insubordination. Now, I get what this news story is attempting to do. They're trying to get the violin playing, the smallest violin in the world. In fact, Cody, cue the track. When you serve time, you're most certainly going to have to deal with situations that won't be fair. They might not seem fair at all. Not every guard is going to be an okay guard. And in fact, in more times than not, you're probably going to have to deal with a guard that's not okay. But while serving time, you learn these things. You know these things. And you have to do everything in your power to try to avoid any type of conflict or situation, or also feed the fire in an effort to look out for you. And something else to throw into this, they say that the guard not only wrote this woman up for insolence, insubordination with the way that she sarcastically responded to him, he also gave her a contraband charge for the Scrabble set. Now look, in every jail, in every prison, in every institution, things are different. The rules is different. What you are allowed to have versus what you're not allowed to have, it's going to be different everywhere. Everywhere that I've been, we've been allowed to have a Scrabble set. But maybe in some other places, you're not. And maybe in this female prison or wherever these women were serving their time at, they weren't allowed to have a Scrabble set. And maybe the Scrabble set that they were playing on was one that they made themselves out of cardboard. If that is also the case, that you were playing on a contraband Scrabble board and this guard walked by saying, "What are you doing?" And you're going to go ahead and respond to this dude sarcastically saying, "What does it look like I'm doing?" And you using some contraband right there in this man's face? I can't feel sorry for you. You get what you give. I mean, you got to follow the rules. And if it was a contraband Scrabble board and you knew you wasn't supposed to have it, or they didn't sell it, maybe you didn't even know it was a contraband board, you just made it yourself, and this guard was just walking by looking for any reason, well, you most certainly gave it to him when you responded to him sarcastically. And maybe it might have been a good idea to put it up and hide that Scrabble board until that guard continued on about his business. I'm not saying that it's right what this guard did. I'm not saying that at all. But they're taking a situation this big and blowing it up into a mountain. You can't do that. And at this point, you have not convinced me that while in prison, the discipline is handed down tougher for women. Now, this story would go on to say that they went to multiple different prisons in multiple different states, men and women's prison, and they compared and crunched the numbers in terms of men getting in trouble versus women getting in trouble. And I'm sure the results that they came up with, yes, women were getting in trouble and written up for way more things than the men were. And I don't even want to say way more, because who's to say? Maybe it was only just a little bit more. Maybe it was just a little bit more, and that's all they needed to run with this. Women get in trouble way more than the men do. You ever been in a men's prison? You ever served some time? And I'm not taking anything away from women who serve time. I know them women prisons go hard. I know they fight just as much as the men do. And I can't even imagine what certain male guards might be like to deal with in a women's prison. But guess what? In a men's prison, they got female guards too. And let me tell you something. Let me share a little bit of information. I can tell you personally from the time that I've served, them women guards that you're going to have to deal with in those men's prison, in a lot of cases, in most cases, maybe even, those female guards, they're going to be way worse than those male guards. And I don't even want to sit here and speculate as to why that is. But for the story to come out saying, women got it way harder than men, I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that accurately depicts serving time. I honestly feel, and I only got one side of this that I can come from, that for men and women alike, serving time, it ain't gonna be no type of a pleasant experience. You're gonna have to deal with all sorts of things that just ain't fair. Guess what? You're locked up. And again, the examples they share in this article, to me personally, they aren't anything too crazy in my own personal opinion, and these are definitely just things that you're gonna have to deal with. Because again, guess what? You are in prison. Another one of these women shares one of her experiences, saying that she got written up once when her cellmate who had diabetes passed out and Williams cursed at the officer. She was thought too slow to help. Now, you know what? Don't get me wrong. I commend this woman for, standing up for her cellmate. Hey, this woman needs help. She's got diabetes. She is passed out. Guard, do your job. But when you fly off at the mouth while locked up, you're responsible for what comes out of your mouth. And that could be whether you get in trouble for it or you get punched in it instead. So go ahead and cuss at a guard if you want to. I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. You definitely run the risk, a very high one at that, of getting yourself in some trouble. And the third woman who was mentioned at the beginning of the story, she shares one of her experiences as well, saying that she got a disciplinary ticket for reckless eyeballing. And as crazy as this may sound, this is when you look at a guard in a derogatory or threatening manner. I've talked about this exact thing here on After Prison Show, and don't get me wrong, this is one of the craziest things that you could ever get in trouble for while serving time. And you know what? For men in prison, this is even way worse. Go ahead and look at one of them female staff members in a crazy way if you want to. And you ain't gotta be looking at her in no threatening or intimidating way. All you gotta do is be looking at her like you just, my God, is that my soulmate right there? Get them eyes bugged out a little bit if you want to. You reckless eyeballing. Colin got a disciplinary ticket for reckless eyeballing. She had made a face when a correctional officer gave her an order. Oh, well, you're lucky that's all you got, instead of also disobeying a direct order. Because you could have gotten one of those too. And this woman would end up serving time in isolation because of this. They say you could get a ticket for anything, especially, it turns out, if you're a woman. I'm telling y'all, I need more. I need more, because what you're sharing with me so far, I can't get jiggy with this. I can't honestly understand how you're making it seem it is so bad for a woman versus a man serving time. And again, please, Do not let this come across like I'm just like some woman hating. I love women. I love my wife. God, I love my wife. She's a woman. You know, I respect women. I have nothing against women. This article, I got something really against this article. The story says across the country, women in prison are disciplined at a higher rate than men, often 2 to 3 times more often, and sometimes for smaller infractions of prison rules. And you know, if that's what it is, that sucks. But again, prison ain't no place that's ever gonna be fun or fair or some place that you really wanna be. And I can't honestly sit here and explain like why this could be the case. I don't know. I've never been inside these women's prisons. God, while I was locked up, I most certainly wish that I was though, but I've never been there. I don't know how the male officers treat these women. I don't know how the female officers treat these women. Maybe in female prisons, the guards treat the women way worse. And obviously, that sort of has to be the case if this is what the study revealed, that women get written up and get charged more often than men. Maybe it's in the men's prison where things are a lot more on edge. Things are a lot more ready to jump off at any second. So maybe it is that the staff is trying to skate the middle of the road. Hey, look, calm down before I write you up, to possibly avoid further problems. But again, this is just speculation. This is just me just throwing these ideas out here. I don't even really believe that that's the case. And as I'm scanning through this story, I'm really just seeing nothing that proves this point anymore for me. Again, I don't agree with this at all. I don't. I cannot emphasize enough that whether you're a man or a woman and you're in prison or you're in jail and you're acting a certain type of way, guess what? With that certain type of way and behavior, there's going to come trouble. There's going to come write-ups. There's going to come isolation and solitary confinement time. You get what you give. If you give out some BS, you're going to get some BS in return. Maybe it is that the women just got bad attitudes. Discipline for small infractions can also result in the loss of privileges, like being able to buy food or supplies. Same damn thing's happening in men's prison. I don't know why this seems like any sort of a surprise right here. Including women's hygiene products. Okay, I can most certainly see how that could be a big deal. However, I don't know if they do this in the females' prison, but I know they do this in the men's. If you get in you some trouble and you go to isolation or you lose the ability to get visits or order commissary, one thing that they still allow you to order are hygiene products. And I'm having a hard time believing that when women get in trouble and go to isolation and lose the ability to order commissary, that they also lose the ability to order the hygiene products like soap, shampoo, tampons, things that they really gonna need. Hygiene could potentially be that much more important for females, so I'm really having a hard time believing that if you get in trouble, they taking away your ability to order those hygiene products. Or inmates lose their visitation and phone privileges. I literally just said that. That can have a particular effect on women because more than half of women in prison are mothers of children 18 or younger. Okay, this is gonna sound super horrible and I don't care how this sounds. I'm just gonna throw this out here. You saying this could have a particular effect on women because they mothers? They weren't thinking about being a mother when they was out there doing whatever it was that got them locked up. I don't care how that sounds. Because guess what? You know what? There's men who's locked up, just as many men who locked up, who are fathers. I don't like this article. I'm pretty sure y'all can tell that. And again, they made this huge deal out of this. And I just wanted to offer up a little opinion on the situation. I know prison is rough, no matter whether you're a man or a woman. And if the statistics show, because I think they went to like 15 different states gathering up the facts and the numbers, that women get in trouble more than men, well, guess what? It is what it is. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this. I know I went on a little tyrant right here, but I don't like that. You know, there's so many different demographics and census reports that you can do on people who get locked up, men, women, or race. That's another really big one right there. And I think some of those have a lot more bearing than others. And this one in particular, I feel like they took a molehill and tried to make a mountain out of that. If they were sitting there talking about sexual assault and any kind of things like that come from the staff, which I know that type of stuff takes place, and that ain't right. I know that probably happens a lot more in female prisons. But that's not really what they was talking about. They was talking about smaller infractions. You do the crime, you do the time. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or whatever. And while you're serving that time, you gotta learn how to act. You ain't gonna just be able to go in there spouting off at the mouth about this or that, and you gotta learn how to act. You gotta learn how to stay in your lane. And what that really means is You got to learn how to act. That's the simplest way I can put it. But again, I really want to know what you guys think about this story. I know there's plenty of women who rock with After Prison Show who have served time. Please comment down below offering any insight that you might want to contribute to this. And because I'm really curious to hear what the women say about this especially. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.